Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel, A Magical Life with Ayla. I'm Ayla Hillel, and today we are going to talk about the energy and vibration of perspective. So let's go. So I always like to do a little thing in the beginning of the videos, kind of fortifying the idea of what this channel is about. You know, we're talking about energy and vibration, specifically your energy and vibration, and ideas to heal your energy, to raise your vibration, to bring you into alignment with your desires and your wishes and your dreams. But some of my videos deal with attitudes or thought processes, because these things affect your vibration greatly. So today we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about perspective, and we're going to talk about divine perspective. Okay, so these are cousins. They're not that different. It's just the way we look at them may be a little different. So a perspective is when we are able to see the circumstances in our lives for what they really are. Okay, I've seen people have drama around a circumstance that really didn't deserve that amount of drama, but the person was into drama. Go back and look at my video on emotional addiction. That person was into drama, so they needed to make this situation a lot bigger than it was. That you will hemorrhage energy if you take little things in your life, you don't come into an understanding of what is really going on with that thing, you make it, blow it out of proportion, make it much bigger than it actually is, you will lose energy and you will bring your vibration down by doing that. So when we get a perspective, what we are actually doing is we are looking at the circumstances the way they are. We are not adding anything to that emotionally. We are not blowing it out of proportion. We're looking at it the way it is. And one of the ways that helps us get a perspective is when an event happens, when an issue arises, we look at that event or that issue and we say, okay, how is this going to affect my life? Is someone going to die? Usually not. Is it going to affect the way I survive, the way I live my life, the way I pay my bills? Is it something that's going to cost me a lot of money? Can I make arrangements for that? You know, things happen. This is the third dimension. And if you've ever had a situation just come out of the woodwork at you, you know what I'm talking about. And having a perspective is really important, because when we go to that place of drama, when we go to that place of emotional addiction, we drain all of our ability away from that situation to be able to actually effectively deal with that situation. Now, if you're having a dramatic reaction to the situations in your life because you're thinking if you're dramatic enough about it, somebody will come in and save you, let me assure you that's not a good way to do your business. Like I said, you're gonna hemorrhage energy going into that place of drama, and 9 times out of 10, nobody's coming to save you. You are responsible for your own life. When issues arise, You are responsible for working those issues out. So getting a perspective is so, so important. When I was mentally ill, my perspective, like is with most mentally ill people, my perspective was a little skewed. So I felt like any damn thing could come out of the woodwork at any moment and ruin my life. My body was waiting to turn on me. And I was going to get this awful disease and I was going to die of this, or I'd be sick for a long time. So I had no perspective. In my mental illness, I had no perspective. And that was really hard for me. That was hard for me, and it was hard for the people around me, because in my mental illness, I felt a lot of trauma. I would go to that place of emotional addiction, and this is not helpful. It's not helpful. After I became well, however, I remember feeling like my amazing, beautiful body was going to do everything it could to keep me healthy. And I was going to be a partner in that. I was going to eat good food. I was going to get some exercise. I was going to have happy thoughts. I was going to be positive. I was going to meditate and pray. And I did all of those things. And I got well in 1997. So it's been that long that my body has kept me well. That feeling that I had when I was ill of just anything could come out at me, anything could come out of my life and come at me and ruin my life, that was gone immediately with my healing. Whatever happens in my life, it was replaced with this feeling that whatever happens in my life, I will be able to work through it. Not that I have the answers. I don't have the answers for every situation in my life. I don't automatically know what the answer is. But when things happen to me, I'm able to look at that thing and go, okay, how can I work through this? How can I make arrangements? Who can I talk to that could direct me in solving this issue? Nobody's going to save me, but there might be people more educated, more learned than I am that can say, oh, go over here, talk to this person. They have some answers for you. So, and getting a perspective is, unless you were like I was, you were sick. When I got well, I kind of automatically came into that perspective. It was part and parcel of my healing. But if you're not sick, and if you feel like you need to work on your perspective, it's exactly that. You need to work on it. It's a practice. Just really trying to see things for what they are. There's lots of big, bad, scary things in the third dimension that happen to us. There is, and I would never minimize that. But for each of those things, can you sit down? Can you look critically at it? Can you ask questions? Can you get information about a person or some other sort of resource that can help you solve this? And another thing about perspective is, if it's an issue that you need to act on, don't put that off. Go immediately, because lots of times we put things off. We're in that energy and that vibration of dread, and we don't know what to do. And we're just afraid that if we go and talk to somebody, it's going to blow up into this big, horrible thing, and we just can't face it. We just can't. Go and face it. Go and face it and get it over with. It might blow up into a great big thing, even more thing that you have to work through. But work through it so that you're not stuck with it, so that you're not grieving it, you're not thinking about it all the time, you're not having anxiety. Anxiety is a terrible vibration. And if you can avoid that anxiety, now there are people who have the mental illness of anxiety. There are some of us who have situational anxiety. Don't let yourself get into that position. Whatever it is you need to take care of, go take care of it so that you can relax, so that you can have peace, so you can breathe. Okay? So that's really what a perspective it is. It's just really seeing things for what it is. And lots of times when something happens, you get a piece of mail and it says, oh, you got, I got a speeding ticket 5 years ago. Was it a speeding ticket or did I go through a red light? One or the other. And the light caught me. In Medford, we have these motion lights, the cameras. And the camera caught me. And 2 weeks later, I get a bill in the mail from the city saying you were either, I think I went through a red light, and you owe us $260. Now, for me, with the income that I have, $260 is a lot. But my first thought was, in my healthy state of mind, my first thought was, I need to go talk to them. I need to go to, they tell you, which one of the buildings, out of all the municipal buildings, which one to go to. So I went there. There was a lady at the window, and I sat it down on the thing. I pushed it to her, and I said, I got this. And she looked down, and she said, oh my. She said, all right, do you want to set up payments? Well, yeah. Okay, how much do you want to pay every month? $25. I can pay $25. And she was like, excellent. Give me $25. I gave her $25. She said, we'll see you next month. So, I mean, had I put that off and put it off and actually, when you put something like that off, it builds up. Other things happen because you didn't go take care of it right away. So I walked away from that relieved. Bad on me for rolling through a red light, but I was relieved that I got to make my restitution and I got to do it in little chunks that I could afford. And that's what I mean. Don't put things off. If you need to go talk to somebody, go talk to them. Tell them your situation. I understand I got this penalty. It was a penalty. And I need to make reparations for this. And there was options. There was options I didn't even know was available. I thought I was going to go talk to them and they were going to be like, give us the money now. So don't be afraid to go and talk to somebody when situations arises. Ask the people around you. Maybe somebody else has gone through it. One of the greatest things that I've experienced in my life is being like, oh my gosh, this thing happened. And one of my friends going, yeah, that happened to me too. And here's how I dealt with it. So that can help you get a perspective, it's like, and then you go and you find out and they're still doing it that way, or they're doing it that way and it's even better now. So don't be afraid when you are in the energy of fear and anxiety. That's draining away your energy. You need to use that energy to create your magical life, right? So you don't want that energy drained off by stuff like this. Now, there's really only one situation that I know of that you will have a hard time getting a perspective, and that is when a loved one dies. Okay, I was a care provider for 40 years, and one of my primary populations that I served was elderly people. And so these people were dying at 90, 95. And sometimes they would have issues. They would have cognitive issues, or they would have physical issues. Sometimes they would have lots of pain. And so by the time they got to the place where they died, I was relieved for them. I was relieved for them because, I have these beliefs about what happens to us when we die, and I believe they got to go on to the next chapter. The pain was gone, the memory issues were gone, and they got to be free of all of that. That's not the case with everybody who dies in our life. Sometimes people die, and it is very, very hard to reconcile. It's very hard to come into a perspective when somebody dies that we don't feel like should have died. Okay, I don't really have a lot of formulas for grief. if you come to me and you want romantic love in your life, I can help you understand that energy and figure out how to create that energy. If you want wealth in your life, I can help you understand the energy and vibration of money, and I can set you on a path of creating more income, creating more wealth in your life. And the same way with healing. It's like healing is a particular energy, and if you understand that energy, then you can begin to heal yourself. But I have no magical formulas for grief. And all I can tell you about getting a perspective when somebody dies is you're probably not going to get a perspective for a while. And this is not drama. This is not the emotional drama. Emotional drama comes because we create it. We create emotional drama. If we have a set of circumstances, we blow them out of proportion, that's your own creation. When somebody has a sudden illness, they wind up in the hospital, a bunch of stuff is happening, that's not drama. That's not you creating drama. Those are real life events, and your energy is going to go out of alignment for a while until that person heals and is out of the woods with their own health, because we love each other. We take care of each other. So when somebody dies, it's kind of the same thing. It's like your energy is not going to be in alignment for a while. And the only thing I can tell you about that is you're just going to have to sit with it. I've had many people over the last 25 years come to me and tell me their story of a loved one dying. And it's so sad. I mean, it makes me teary. And really, there's no advice for how to adjust your vibration to come back into alignment. So when I talk to people about having a perspective, creating a perspective, I'm really not talking about death. I'm really not talking about really big situations where a person is hurt, they're in the hospital. You're just going to have to work through those things. You're going to have to get to that place where that person is better, or where you can. I remember when my mother died and the grief that I went through. I was a little girl, and I remember the grief that I went through. My mother was a really difficult character in my life, and so I had this thing that, oh my gosh, my mom is dead, but then all of that other stuff that was so difficult is gone now. And I remember after about a year after she had died, I began to be able to put things in perspective and to kind of, I don't know if you would call it compartmentalizing or what it was, but I remember being able to breathe again and being able to think of. My mother was very young when she died. She was 27. And in my little mind, I was 11, and in my little mind, I remember thinking, that was old. And so after a year, it took me an entire year as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old to really kind of look at it. And I think I was able at one point to kind of understand that it just happened. It wasn't anybody's fault. It just happened. And things like this in the third dimension just happen. But that wasn't until after an entire year of me grieving this unfinished life and the unfinished situation between me and her. So when another person tells somebody, oh, that person died 3 years ago, why aren't you over that yet? There is no time limit on grief. So if somebody is telling you that, you tell them to shut up, because that's not right. And I really think that maybe this is why I don't have a magical formula for grief, is because grief in and of itself is a magical formula. It's uncomfortable, and at times it's miserable. But grief may be the thing that is there for us as we, put that person's life into a perspective of its own. It's very difficult. That's a very difficult situation, and I don't touch it. I don't touch the topic of grief. When I talk about perspective, I am talking about life. I am talking about situations and people that happen in our life. That's what I'm talking about. And I don't claim to be a grief expert or a counselor. That is a whole nother realm, except to say that I don't think you're going to have much of a perspective while you are grieving the death of a loved one. So that is perspective. Three-dimensional perspective. And when I say three-dimensional, what I'm talking about is what we have to deal with here in this life, on this planet, in this incarnation of our life. For someone like me, there is, and for many of you as well, there is the three-dimensional life, and then there's the fifth-dimensional life. And fifth-dimensional thinking is different than three-dimensional thinking. So the second thing I want to talk about is, we talked about perspective, three-dimensional perspective. Now I want to talk about fifth-dimensional perspective, or what I like to call divine perspective. Now, in the topic of things that can come out of the woodwork at you on this realm, it can get really big and really hairy. I mean, at times, you can feel sucker punched. And it can feel enormous. It can feel like this thing, without any drama added, it can feel enormous. Things like that happen to me as well. And one of the things that I like to do is stop all reaction to what is happening. Now, let me tell you something. Let me be really clear about this. When you stop your reaction to a situation, one of two things is happening. Number one, it's almost superhuman. It's almost superhuman when some big thing comes out of the woodwork at you and you don't react to it. And I'm talking about an unnecessary reaction, because that's what drama is. Drama is an unnecessary reaction. Okay. So that's the first thing. Once you stop this unnecessary reaction, the second thing is you can get in touch with what might actually be going on. Okay. So I've had situations where it's not one big thing. It's like 3 or 4 little things that happen in a matter of a week. At the third or fourth issue, I'm starting to see a pattern here. It's like, okay, what is actually going on here? Because I am consciously in vibration with my others, with my spirit guides and my angels. I am in conscious contract. We're all in contract with our spirit guides and our angels. You are all magical. You're practicing magic all the time, whether you know it or not. And we are all in contract with our angels and our spirit guides. But you don't have to be conscious of that. If you wrote it down to come over here and be completely oblivious to the other side, there is value in that. However you wrote your life plan down, there is value in that. Okay? You may not need a relationship while you're down here with the other side. I happen to be one of those people that I have to feel connected. And I'm constantly doing things to make myself feel connected to them. It's not their job to connect with me. It's my job to connect with them. That's my responsibility. So when a bunch of things just start happening in my life, negative things, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. First thing I do is interrupt that thought. I interrupt that reaction, because I don't want my energy being wasted on an unnecessary reaction. Does that make sense? The second thing I do is I sit down, I get still, and if I can bring myself into a meditative state, I do. If I'm so baffled that I can't get into that meditative state, I sit quiet. I just sit quiet. I try to imagine what it is that they might be trying to show me. Is this, because sometimes we're on our life path. We wrote our life path down before we come here. It's their job to keep you on your path. So they'll create some circumstances that feel kind of random at times. Other times it doesn't feel random, but I know sometimes I have that random thing going on. These circumstances that feel kind of random, and it's to nudge you in a certain direction. If these circumstances need action, sometimes you do those actions and you learn something desperately that you needed to know. I don't believe that we come here to learn lessons. I don't think that's why we're here. But while we're here, there may be things we need to learn so that we can better function in this realm. You see what I'm saying? Oh, you're gonna be born and you're gonna learn this big lesson. Why? We come here to have experiences. We come here to remember who we are and how to create our lives. We come here for whatever reason we wrote down that we're coming here. So, but then here's this series of what feels like random events happening in my life that I could get very upset about. Maybe one or two or all of them require action. So as a responsible fifth dimensional being, I'm going to go and take care of those, do that action that those require. And sometime in the process of following through with an action from a random event, you'll meet somebody you needed to know, who's going to have information for you, or who's going to take a place in your life for a while. Sometimes in the course of going and dealing with one of these random events, you learn some stuff about how the third dimension works. All information that you can gather about how the third dimension works, you need to have that information. It makes living in this realm a lot easier. So that's kind of my take on a divine perspective. It's like, yes, this thing happened, and these things may have happened, or this big thing might have happened, and what actually is going on here? That's always my question. What is actually going on here? And I usually don't get the answer to that until after I have dealt with this big thing or these random series of things. Like I said, I meet somebody or I get some information I needed to have. I didn't even know I needed to have that information, but here it is. So that's a divine perspective. That's when we see things for what it really is. It's not the end of the world. A really good perspective is this the end of the world? Is this the end of my world? And if the answer is no, then it does not warrant an unnecessary, overblown, dramatic reaction to it. What it may warrant is some sort of action. You've got to go, I had to go pay my ticket. I had to go pay my ticket. You don't pay your tickets, other things happen in addition to that. And then you find yourself in a real mess. I went and paid my ticket. I found out that there's alternate ways of doing this. We have options when we go to pay a ticket. I had no idea. I didn't know. I thought I was going to go pay this ticket and then I was going to be broke till the end of the month. So the difference between, a divine perspective is the same thing as simply having a perspective, for seeing things the way they are. But in the divine perspective, you're acknowledging your spirit. You are acknowledging your evolution and your growth. And if there is something to be learned from those things, those events and those issues, that is going to give you understanding about the third dimension and how it works, you want that. You want to go there. So that's really, this is a very simple topic really. And that's really all I have to say about it, except that it's a practice. Having a perspective. You got to interrupt that thought when you want to have this big overgrown reaction. You want to interrupt that thought and not have that reaction, not go to that place of drama where you're going to hemorrhage your precious creative energy. And then just act accordingly from there. Keep your eyes open for knowledge that you may gain from that situation, acquaintances or friendships that may develop out of that situation. So, it's hard when things just fly at us in the third dimension. It's hard. And I understand sometimes why people react the way they do. I get it. But what I'm saying is this is not good for your vibration. It's not good for your energy. And we need to start changing that up a little bit. And the best thing you can do, the number one best thing you can do in the middle of an issue or a crisis or an argument with another person is stay calm. Stay calm. Don't let them take you to that place of drama, and don't go to that place of drama by yourself. Okay? And always stay on the positive side of things. I have little aches and pains, and we live in a world where we have names for those things. And I could immediately jump on the bandwagon and say, oh, this is what's happening to me, because we talk about it all the time in the third dimension. So this is what is happening to me. I'm going to go to the doctor, and they're going to diagnose me, and okay. One of the things I know about my body is that I have what I call it amounts to nothing. A little ache or pain, and I might even have it for a significant period of time, but a little ache or pain that amounts to nothing. And somebody will say, oh, what is that? Oh, it's nothing. Now, does that mean I'm going to completely ignore it forever? It's like, no. After a certain point, you want to go get treatment for it. But I'm not going to I've known people this way. It's like the minute something happens, like, oh, I have this. They self-diagnose. I have this thing. I'm going to go to the doctor, and the doctor's going to tell me. I have a friend who had a friend who, her friend was vigilant about cancer screening and talking about it all the time and going every 3 months and being checked, and she died of breast cancer. And my friend said, what do you think? And I said, well, I think that her perspective was a little out of the box. Maybe she could have done things herself, adjusted her perspective to have helped herself a little bit. And, this exists on the third realm. This problem exists on the third realm, on this third dimensional realm. And I don't know, if our body belongs to our mind, and this is what you're always thinking about. Now, I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. I'm not saying don't get screened. That's not what I'm saying. You do what you do, and we know what's healthy for the third dimension. But while you are doing those things, while you are being a responsible person, let your mind be someplace else. Let your mind be in your health. Let your mind dwell in a place. I will never die of cancer, because cancer does not exist in my fifth dimensional reality. It does not exist. So I'm constantly having those thoughts of health. I'm constantly having those thoughts of, good food and lots of exercise and lots of fresh air and lots of meditation and prayer and all of those things that keep us healthy. My mind is not in this other place. And I believe with all of myself that helps. It helps. It can keep us out of those dark places. While you are being a responsible third dimensional citizen and you are going to your doctor and you are being checked, you are also creating this mindset that is in complete opposition to the third dimension. So like I said, it takes practice. I worked very hard for a number of years creating my fifth dimensional mindset where certain diseases just do not exist. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And I want you to understand that I'm not telling you not to go to the doctor. I'm not telling you to not be responsible. Go pay your ticket. Go get screened. Do those things. And then don't give it another thought. Don't give it another thought. Don't pay any more energy or vibration to those topics. Keep your mind in that place where everything is just the way it should be. Okay? So that's all I have to say about perspective. I hope that's helpful. Now, what I want to talk about is I have a new YouTube channel. It's I'm fixing to make another video for that channel. It is called Magical Life Publications. And on that channel, I will be talking about my books. I will be talking about everything to do with writing. I will be talking about my struggles as a writer. I will be talking about publishing, publications, the choices that I've made in that topic. So if you want to check that out, there's only one video in there right now. I'm going to make another one today. That's especially if you're a writer, but if you're just curious about what I'm doing, that's good too. And the other thing is, if you go to my website at amagicallifewithayla.com, I am offering, if you sign up on my emailing list, I'm offering a free class. The name of the class is What is Witchcraft? Very basic class. There's going to be 5 parts to it. Very simple. You watch the video, you read the written lesson, and then I'm going to try to figure out a way. I'm not satisfied with this. This is not good enough for me to just give you something where you watch a pre-recorded video and then you read this lesson. That's not good enough. I want interaction. If you have questions, if you have thoughts, if you have philosophies and ideas about the topic, I want to hear them. I want to engage you in conversation. So I'm trying to work, I'm using the platform that is with my, that came with my domain. And it's very clever. Like I said, it's a pre-recorded video and a lesson. I'm also trying to think of a way for all of us to get together and have discussions. So we may do that on YouTube. We may do that on Zoom. But if you would like to take advantage of this free class, go to my website, scroll down to the bottom. There's a place to subscribe. You're going to fill out that form. You're going to push submit, and then that's going to send. And then there's a button right next to it that says, what is witchcraft? You're going to click on that. You're going to fill out that form. So I'm going to get a notice in my email box that you're a new subscriber. I'm also going to get a notice that you've signed up for the class. Okay. Now, let me just talk a little bit about my emailing list. People don't like to sign up for this stuff because you get spammed. You get all of this stuff. I'm on one email list. I really wanted to be on it. I signed up for it. That lady writes me every single day. She blows up my email box with stuff. I will not do that to you. I will not spam you, nor will I sell your information to another list. I will write you twice a month. Once in the beginning of the month and once towards the end of the month. And one of those, once I get into a routine, is going to be a newsletter. The other one is going to be specials and promotions that I'm doing for the things in my shop. If you go and visit my shop, there's stuff in there. And I'm also on my website creating a community space. If you scroll down and you look at all the little boxes that are um, on the front page, one of them says join our community. That's where you go in. The community is $10 a month. And then the other one, which has a passcode to get into it, you go in there and there's magic lessons, there's free meditation things, audios and visuals that you can watch and listen to. There's several different topics there. I think there's 4 different boxes. They're all empty right now because I just got this idea, and I'm going to be filling it in as time goes by. And if you're in the community, if you've paid the entrance fee, you'll be getting an addition from those 2, telling you when I've posted something new inside my community. And these things that get posted inside the welcome to our community button will not be posted on YouTube or Facebook or any place else on the internet. This will be just for community members who are part of the community and who have subscribed to my newsletter. So there's some exciting stuff happening, and please go to the other YouTube channel, like and subscribe, and please come and subscribe to the newsletter and the community area on my website. I think this is going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking for easy ways for us to spend time together. So like Zoom. Zoom is not the big, bad, scary thing. I signed up with Zoom here a while ago, and it was so easy. I was just amazed. But I'm also looking for something better. Is there a better way for us as a group to FaceTime and for me to make myself available to you? So my new email address is ayla@amagicallifewithayla.com. That's my new email address. You're going to start seeing that on the website and on the contact page. Don't hesitate. Do not hesitate to go into the contact page, shoot me an email. I'm having an issue with this, or I need to know, what to do about this. Start a conversation with me. It's like I love that stuff. So that's all I have to say today, and I'll see you next week, and you have a wonderful week, and blessed be.